My name is Alexandra Belair, and I blog as Xanthipa, Xanthipa's Chamber Pod. Well, originally, when the Charlie Hebdo massacre had occurred, I realized that we have to speak up here in Canada. It came only a few months following a shooting at the War Memorial, and then inside the buildings of the Parliament, on the Parliament Hill itself, and it became obvious that religious repression of free speech was creeping on all of Western society. And I wanted to make sure that we in Canada stood up against it and said, no, you cannot frighten us. We will speak our minds, no matter what your religious views happen to be about it. It was held at the occasion of the International Dua Muhammad Day because so much of the freedom of speech around the world is being repressed by Islamic teachings. However, Islam is not the only doctrine that seems to be oppressive of freedom of speech. Currently, there are activists in jail in Asia for having used an image of Buddha with headphones on. So I was inviting people to draw a picture of Buddha with the headphones on. The Pope had famously said that violence would be justifiable response to an insult to his mother. So I was inviting people to draw pictures of the Pope's mother, because there is no reason why speech should be countered with violence, and we must not permit that. So this was sort of an equal blasphemy opportunity. It may have been at the occasion of the International Dua Muhammad Day, but I was inviting people to draw any image of any religious or political figure that they wanted to. In addition to satirical or other people, I was also planning to display traditional Islamic depictions of the Prophet Muhammad, because the current interdiction on picturing Muhammad is much less historically Islamic than many current voices would like us to believe. That's right. I contacted them back in February. It took them almost a month to respond to me. I had to make numerous phone calls before I got any response whatsoever. But I did contact them, and I said, well, should I apply for a permit now? Or I was told, no, don't apply for the permit now. It's much too soon. Apply for it when it's close to the event. About 10 working days prior to the event is the amount of time we need to process it. So don't apply too far ahead of that, and everything will go smoothly from there on. So I, being a law and order kind of a person, and naively believing that if you follow the rules, it'll be the right thing to do. That's exactly what I did. I applied. I was very honest in my application. I pointed out that I'm just a single individual, not representative of any organization or any political party, because I don't have any affiliations politically. I also was very clear that, yes, it was being held at the occasion of the International Dua Muhammad Day, but it was to depict any and all political and or religious figures. All I wanted to do was set up a table and have people come by and draw pictures to express their freedom of speech. It took a couple of days for them to acknowledge receipt of my application, but when they did, I got a phone call from somebody from the protective policing from the RCMP. She gave me her contact information and said she would be the main contact for me to liaise with, and that if I had any questions or concerns or any difficulties, she would be there to talk me through it and help me out. So that was absolutely wonderful. Everything was going well. I was happy. Things were going the way I thought the process is supposed to work, so I was quite happy. Then, following this, I was again contacted by more people from the protective policing unit, saying that there is some possibility of a conflict with another event, and would I be willing to move where on the hill I would be positioned and or the time. So I applied. Of course, I'd be happy to work with them. I did not want to create any headaches. We exchanged some emails, and the next day we exchanged a phone call, during which I pointed out that I do not want to put anybody else at danger. I want to work with the RCMP to ensure that no other visitors to the hill will be put in any danger, and that the location of my event would be so that it's easy for them to protect and or police the whole area. The next day, we met at Tim Hortons on Greenbank Square in Ottawa. Uh, oh gosh, what was the date? It was the Friday prior to the 20th of May. So Monday would have been 18th, 17th, 16th. So it would have been the 15th of May at 11:15, and it was at Greenbank Square in Ottawa.
And you have the names of the officers that you met with?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
And please continue.
And because I had expressed that part of my motivation to draw this was the shooting that had happened on October 22nd on the Hill, and that if they had to move my little table, I would be greatly appreciative if it could be perhaps somewhere along the path that was taken by the shooter, because I wanted to express the symbolism there, right? And but I wasn't insistent on it. But they were very nice. They brought a picture of the hill together with the route highlighted in yellow, and talked me through where they think would be the most secure location, easiest for them to police. And I said that was perfect. I wanted to make their job as easy as possible. I wanted to make sure that no unnecessary danger was going to occur to anybody at all, because this is my goal. The win for me would have been to have a freedom of speech event uninterrupted and as peaceful as possible. That was the end product I was working towards, and that's what I wanted.
Okay.
They were very satisfied. They told me that, I moved the event by some time to make sure it didn't interfere with a yoga event on the Hill. And everybody was happy. They told me they were satisfied that I'm not some sort of a nut job, and that I'm really trying to do a freedom of speech event, and that I'm a reasonable person, and that they will be standing behind granting the permit. They said that the security questions was the last hurdle, and that I should have the permit within hours, if not by the end of Friday, then certainly by the first thing Tuesday morning. Now, Tuesday, because the Monday was Victoria Day holiday and a statutory holiday, so the government offices weren't working. So the closest workday following the Friday meeting would have been Tuesday. So they said by the end of Friday or early Tuesday morning, I should have the paperwork for the permit.
And that, of course, would be one day before. Tuesday was the one day before the event was planned for the
That's
Wednesday.
right. That would have been the 19th of May. Now, since that was so close, I must admit I was naive. I believed what I was told. And I believed that since I had satisfied all the security concerns and I was told that that was the only hurdle to granting the permit, I believe that yes, this event was going on, and I went ahead, put it on my blog, and I went and emailed my friends who emailed their friends to let everybody know that this was indeed going on. Rise Canada had even put up a Facebook page about it, because they wanted to raise publicity of the event. They thought also that it was an important thing, so they thought they'd help me out. I was certain that I had the permit because I was told that I did, and that only the paperwork on it was lagging. Unfortunately, Monday it was a holiday. Tuesday morning came by, and I was sitting anxiously, watching my inbox, trying to wait for the paperwork to come through, and it wasn't. So I was getting pretty nervous by this point, and so by afternoon, I contacted our CMP protective policing people and said what's going on, and they assured me everything was in order, and I would be receiving the paperwork very shortly. So I was, okay, we're on, everything's good. I felt comforted, except at 5:25 in the afternoon, early evening on the 19th, I got a phone call from Heritage Canada informing me rather brusquely that, no, the permit had been denied. I was flabbergasted. I was at a loss for words, because at this point, I truly and honestly believed that a permit had been granted, and I was simply just waiting for the paperwork to come through. But apparently the permit had not been granted due to security concerns, I was told. And I said, well, but I was talking to the policing people, and they told me the security concerns were all taken care of. What are the security concerns? What's going on here? And they said, they couldn't comment further. I says, okay, well, what kind of an appeal do I have? None. And that was it. And
So you can't.
an hour or two later, I got the written paperwork saying the permit had been denied. I was very upset. I didn't know what to do, because obviously I had been very naive. I believed what I was told. And Well, so being a rule of law kind of person, I contacted everyone and let them know that, including the policing unit, protective policing people, because they told me if for any reason I wasn't going to come, to let them know so they wouldn't be waiting for me at the appropriate place. So I let them know, which this is purely my impression I have, but it seems to me that they were surprised that the permit wasn't granted, and that it also was my personal impression that they were not the ones with security concerns. But that's just my personal impression. I do not know what the facts behind it are, because I was told I wouldn't be given them. So, of course, I put up a notice on my blog saying, no, the event is not happening. And I emailed everybody telling them, no, it isn't happening. There is no permit. It's been denied. I've been, I kind of felt like the carpet had been pulled out from under me, because, yes, I'm naive. I believe what I was told. And I jumped the gun. Yes, I didn't have the paperwork in time.
No, but there's no
I believe
way...
what I was told. They told me to apply. I applied at the time they told me to apply. They didn't process it until a few hours before the event, less than 24 hours before the event. So what else could have I done?
And now, of course, they're claiming that they never actually granted a permit at all in the first place, right?
And, I don't have any paperwork telling otherwise. They never did officially grant any permit. I was simply told that it would be granted, but in the end it wasn't. And I believe what I was told.
Now,
what else can I say? I have to. I have to do something. I'm just simply right now not sure what. If I go through the process of applying again, I will be sabotaged again. Some people have pointed out to me that it's rather oxymoronic to think that permitted speech is the same thing as free speech. Because, in order to get the permit on the Hill, not only do you have to tell them who the speakers are, you have to tell them what they will all say. And only on basis of that will they grant or not grant the permit. So we're not talking about free speech. We're talking about bureaucratically approved speech here. And it was pointed out to me that I was actually not serving the forces of freedom of speech by applying for a permit to exercise my freedom of speech. And so I am really not quite certain what the best course of action from here would be. I am open to suggestions. I'm going to be talking to some organizations that have contacted me since who would like to participate. Yes, I will do something. I just don't know what right now. Well, back then when I was born, it was Czechoslovakia. But yes, currently that would be the Czech Republic.
Right.
I was born a daughter of a political dissident who was labeled a potential leader of the people against the people. Mm-hmm. And as such, I was singled out for teachers would be, whenever there would be political officers attending the class to make sure that it's ideologically sound. I would be singled out and picked at and later bullied by kids in the playground because, well, that was the thing to do. And yes, I understood perfectly well what it was like to live without freedom of speech. And that's why I came to Canada. I came to Canada for the Canadian values. This is the 800th anniversary of the Magna Carta. I am an adoptive child of the Magna Carta, and I will be damned if these freedoms are taken away from my children and my Canada. I have great respect for him. I saw him from a distance once when he came to Canada while he was in power, and I was in the crowd watching eagerly. But freedom of speech is essential, because if people do not have the freedom to discuss their ideas, these ideas will go underground, and if they can't protect their freedoms with speech, they will protect them with violence. I do not like violence, which is why I am so defensive of free speech.